Astad Deboo, his 74th birthday. He's not with us, but like his name, he's an astral being in the heavens, we hope. Was he a dancer's dancer? That a layperson would enjoy? What was it that my generation of dancers found so fascinating about Astad? Well, here in conversation is my friend, colleague, and ever brilliant Aditi Managaldas. Aditi, welcome.
Thank you, Anita. Very, very happy birthday to Astad. Wherever he is, I know he's dancing. He's definitely dancing in our hearts. And I know he's going to be so, so happy that you're doing this. Really.
We are doing this, Aditi.
Yes.
We are doing this. Because, I just think that because he's gone, suddenly there's this huge void about the possibilities and the courage of dreaming, just of dreaming. And Aditi, maybe I don't know him maybe as well as you, but just in observing his life, the loneliness of a certain path, the time he was born, what he decided to do, the courage to just backpack and hitchhike and just go everywhere. I don't have it. Okay. And then to come back to a country where there is not just resistance, there's some suspicion, there's some doubt, there is sometimes paranoia, bhai, ye kya kar raha hai? And yet I know that if you and I have like a product launch, right? It could be a new car, Astad was the go-to person.
Yes.
If it had to be a dancer, I mean. And it's just incredible. So Aditi, tell me, you're also from Bombay, so you have that connect with Astad. But what do you remember about the first time you saw him perform?
I think, we grew up as young adolescent dancers listening and hearing about him. But it was, if I'm not mistaken, in the East-West Dance Encounter, which was the Delhi one, the one in Delhi, which was organized by Dr. Lechner.
Yes.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
It was, sorry, excuse me. And it was at that, where he was there, and we were like, I was a young dancer invited because I was still at Kathak, but from Kumiben and Maharaji. So there were lots of things happening in my mind and questions and queries. And here was this iconic man and dancer who had the courage and the passion to follow his journey, to have the courage to say, no, guys, I'm going to do this. And this is what I believe my dance, I want it to be. So that's the first time I saw him perform. I think it was at the India International Center. And those were the days he was still it was not his huge peshwas and jamas and all, it was in his leotards.
The unitard.
Yes. And, strangely, talking about his costumes, it's only after he's gone that I have noticed about his costume, actually. Of course, I know that he wore these amazing, I used to say 100 yards of material around him. But when he danced, I was mesmerized by him, by the contained energy in his body, by the detailing of his hands.
Yes.
Yeah. And the way his head would be. And this intense concentration, absolute, as if he's immersed in this moment, which was unfolding ever so slowly. Like you're waiting and it's just there and just opening. And I would like be waiting for that movie to open. So though I saw him in doing many performances, and it was always his face, his eyes, even his feet sometimes, the way they held on to the earth, or how they twirled, which I never saw the costumes. It's much. I mean, now that I look back at all his photos that he was always sharing from different parts of the world, and I said, wow, that it was so that it was the India International Center. As a dancer in my late art unfolding.
Yeah. Is there one particular performance, Aditi, that now comes to your mind? When I say one performance, is there one thing that comes to your mind when I say Astad Deboo on stage?
There were so many things. As I said, every performance, there was something about his intention and his immersion in dance, his love of dance, his complete involvement in that moment, his absolutely mind-blowing music. I used to say, Astad, how do you choose this music?
I
Astad,
know.
tell me. In fact, I remember he danced one solo with Shubha Mudgal's alap. It was just Shubha doing the alap, and I was so blown that I went up to him and I said, Astad, and this is in the 90s, I think. And I said, Astad, please, that time was Astad G, till he sort of hit me on my
Yes.
head and said, no, you
Yeah.
have to call me Astad. And I said, please, I want to try this, with Shubha. And I said, yeah, of course. So go ahead, try it out at Kathak. But one performance that, I mean, the last one I saw was also brilliant at the NCPA, Unbroken, Unbound on Gandhi.
Yes, the one on Gandhi.
Yes.
Gandhi.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the one that keeps reverberating in my mind is this. He comes and starts twirling in this, and the backdrop in Kamani kept changing, and the detailing was in the way his feet were moving slightly, like to, but which direction his feet went, and his hands, which were slowly, you couldn't really make out, but if you saw frame one and after half an hour frame two, you said, oh wow, it's changed. And you saw his spine, his extension of the spine and the movement, and suddenly you said, oh my God, he's bending backwards and moving. Or oh my God, he's, and the backdrop, but he was in one place, just twirling. To me, it was like a child becoming a adolescent, growing up, a young adult, old age, and this flow of time, and at the back, the colors of the backdrop kept changing. They didn't affect him, but they affected the viewer who was watching. So it was just one of those incredible experiences that I will never forget.
I think, in his, there's a book on contemporary Indian dance in which we're all there. And in this, he says, I want my dance to be an experience. I don't just want it to be a performance. And I think that he, he found that intention even before all of us now use the word, we want it to be an experience. We don't want you to come and watch a performance. And I was just wondering through the day, and I'm listening to so many people talk. He was born in 1947, when years before all of us. And there had to be something else in his spirit that just drove him. Because I know, Aditi, you and I separately, was always a little sad or a little wistful that, you know, people didn't acknowledge him maybe the way he respected others, you know. And I would always say, Astad, I don't know what you have to feel, restless about or sad about. You're traveling all the time. I mean, you're in Korea and Chile and South America and Mexico and Canada and on the Great Wall. I mean, I'm just living life watching you, watching your photographs, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, he would send messages from different parts of the world.
Right.
Once from, I think it was Korea or Japan, he was in this really jazzy outfit and doing something really wild. And I said, wow. And then somewhere else. So, in fact, I used to call him, hi, Globetrotter, and then he would write back saying, look who's talking. Because he would always be either in Germany or South America or Canada or going somewhere. But Anita, he was any time that I performed in Bombay, or any of my Drishtikon's dancers performed, he was there. I was looking at his messages, and there's one message saying, I'm leaving tonight for the US, but I'm going to come and see watch and then rush to the airport. So he was a very generous hearted, beautiful human being, encouraging young dancers, always calling up when he was in Delhi. He somehow knew where I was dancing even before I would know, because he was so beautifully connected. He would call up and say, hey, you're dancing here. And I said, really? He said, yeah, I found out that you're doing something here. And generous, in the way that he felt, yes, at times I do know, because he said, that he should have got far more recognition. And I think that's a problem with arts all over, but especially in India. But he himself was so giving, at least in my small circle of dancers, which I remember once I said, Astad, will you come and do a workshop? And he was very excited. He said, yes, of course. So he came and this company was of Dhasu Kathak dancers, stiff spines. So I think he came, and I had heard about, the diva Astad, in the sense his temper. And I said, oh my God. And then he started teaching, and maybe he was really frustrated with our inflexible spines. So I can actually think of him, he said he must have thought, okay, I'm going to ask them to take pirouettes. So he says, okay, all of you bend from your waist, let your torso be parallel to the ground. And I know that you are great spinners, so let's see you spinning. And so here we were, these sort of Dansu Kathak dancers, suddenly out of our comfort zone, spinning like this. And when he showed it to us, it looked so effortless, with his hands aside and parallel to the ground. And we were like, I was saying, right now I'm going to get one dhap on my back, because my back is sort of. But he was right there, and I could see a little bit of his temper, because we were driving him crazy. All the Kathak dancers who couldn't spin the way he wanted, but always ready to help, to when he was invited there was a reception given by Her Majesty the Queen of England, and there were a few artists who were invited, and of course he was there, and he got to know that I had been invited, but I had declined, because I had thought, flying all the way. He called, he said, right now, right to that you are going. But Astad, just going for this show? No, you must go. You have to be seen there. You must go. Buy your ticket right now. And then he pestered me, between him and Sanjoy Roy. And that's so generous, because he could. Why did he bother? Why did he bother to come to every performance of mine? Why did he, he said, I'll come and help anytime you want. Uh, he would message from different parts of the world. How are you? What's happening? How did the performance go? Oh, I heard, really read a great review of yours. And I think only a very generous person does that. You
You
know,
know, you were
some,
talking about your young dancers, Aditi. I too had that experience at NCPA. My young dancers were presenting a kind of a contemporary neoclassical work, and I did one solo in it. He came, again, he was on his way to some foreign country, but he
yeah.
came at the experimental theater. And then he came, he posed with the dancers, he congratulated everybody. Then he took me aside. He said, I like your solo. I think you can work on it a little more, but it works. It's the direction. I think that you've got the direction. But he said, this work, the group work is very interesting. And I think you've got a group of good dancers. And, I completely agree with that generosity. And anytime I had a talk or something, he was there. If he was in Bombay, he was there. But do you remember Boxed when I asked all of you to be commentators? I asked him, he said, Anita, I can't talk. I'm very bad at it. I like to watch, I like to observe. I'm okay on a one-on-one, but I'm very bad with this digital thing. But what an amazing film he made. Boundaries.
Oh,
What an amazing film he made.
we had a conversation after that. I was in Bombay and
Right.
locked up, and I saw this absolutely mind-blowing film. And he said how tough it was. He was really worried about his dancers in Delhi, his dancers in Manipur, and how they were going to survive, and how he said that over Zoom or whichever WhatsApp video, he directed them, choreographed, saw the angle, saw the light, and it was just a mind blowing film. And I spoke to him after that. We had a long conversation, and I think he was so happy that that film happened, that his dancers found their creativity in this really tough time. He made another film, Vriksh, which,
Bricks, yes. The
yeah,
second one
which was
with that
projected
tree.
with the
Yes,
tree.
beautiful,
Beautiful film.
beautiful.
And he told me how not only did he, how he filmed it, but also he was involved in the editing. And and he was so excited, Anita. Uh, I mean, this was, I think, early in May, June, July,
Yeah,
August.
May, June, July. Yeah.
Yeah, 2020. In fact, in October, I spoke to him, and we had a long chat, and he said, "You're crazy. You're not coming, getting out of your apartment. I'm going to Marine Drive every day. I love to walk. I sit." And I said, "Oh, Astad, I can't believe I've been in Bombay for 6 months and we haven't met." And I told him that, I'm like a roller coaster. Someday I feel very energetic and someday I'm so low. And he said, just call anytime. And this was one of those times. And he was really open hearted, giving of his, talking about his dancers, talking about his projects. Oh, that tour got cancelled, but I'm going to see how I'm going to, when it's going to happen next. And I'm not quite sure, but he also did go, I think, to Pune for a photo shoot.
Yes, he
And
did.
yes, and he
Yes, he
sent
did.
mind blowing photographs. And then he says, his hair, you know, his amazing, iconic hair, and
Yes.
some photographs of his. I said, I can't believe us that. And he said, yes, I'm going to give a talk and I can't do it without. He was such a perfectionist. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
he was so incredibly dressed, so elegant, exquisite music, exquisite aesthetics. Even if simple lights, they were so beautifully done. Uh, his dancers, I remember once he choreographed something with the Salam Balak Trust boys, with the deaf dancers, with, of course, the Manipur drummers. And he had the courage, Anita. He had the courage to stand up and say, "This is my dance," you know. And it was, as a young, in the 80s, I remember watching him and seeing glimpses of Kathakali or Kathak, and thinking, how is this absorbed? How is all this so without seamlessly absorbed in his body? How is it possible it doesn't look grafted or unnatural? And that's what, when I was listening to his sister Gulshan in the morning, that he absorbed from here, from there, music, sound, dance. One night he was at my house, and I wish I'd recorded that, because he told me about his journey when he had left India and he was on a boat, and then he was, and I remember it was like a 2.5 hours talk where he was chatting. I was just, wow, Astad, I didn't know. Astad, I didn't know. And I feel sad that many of us didn't know. I mean,
I know. Because, many times, Aditi, whenever I met him, I said, Astad, when are you going to have your biography written? When is a book going to come out with your photographs? He said, nobody's interested. I said, but I find that impossible to believe.
yeah, yeah.
I find it impossible to believe because, Aditi, the two of us, if we look for a choreographic motive in his work, there is none because you can't tell, right? It feels as if he's creating in the moment, but yet he knows exactly what he's going to do.
Going to do, yeah.
Yeah. So as from a choreographic point of view, he's constantly surprising us, even those of us who are in the craft. And I think he almost wants to surprise himself. I always asked him, Astad, do you keep a certain percentage of your work on stage improvisational because you know the music so well?
Yes,
But the
yes.
music was so much a part of him. He said, yeah, sometimes I just do, And I suppose as a solo performer with recorded music, if you're a master of your craft, you can do that. You can do
Yes,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
I remember Shubha mentioning this, that when she did the solo, this Alap solo, where I was totally mesmerized. He said, Shubha, just sing. And it was so incredible. And she said that she got so mesmerized with his dancing that it was incredible how the whole thing just unfolded, you know. Um, it was beautiful. And he had, as you say, there were some things so much of the moment, and you can only create that, and as artists we know, if you're so immersed in your dance. So you've been through the vigor and rigor of every movement of your dance, and then it is possible to have that feeling where you are completely absorbed in that moment. And he, yes, as you said, the music he knew so well. It felt as if the music was from his toes to his incredibly fancy haircut, was in every pore of him. And 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 I loved another thing. Wherever he went, in front of Anish Kapoor's in Chicago,
Yeah, the Bean in Chicago. What fabulous photographs!
and from different parts, and dancing on a parapet. I mean, I'm so acrophobic. I can't even dance on a stage that's little high, you know. And it was just mind blowing when he would send photographs of him somewhere top on Mehrangarh Fort or somewhere. So it was, it's something that he lived his dance um, with complete involvement and conviction somehow. And that's why I understand when Gulshan, and I feel really sad because I didn't know his family at all. before, you know, when I mean, before he passed away. And when she mentioned that the award that he got from the
Krishna Gana Sabha.
Gana Sabha. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I understand that because that was a award from the people who understand dance, who understand the rigors and vigors, may it be classical or contemporary. They understand great art, and therefore to get an award from there has much more meaning than, you know. And I heard it in the morning and I said, yes, of course, that must be it.
Thank you so much, Aditi.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
sharing this moment. And thank you. It's lovely to hear from you. Let's
Thank
wish
you so
Astad a
much.
beautiful birthday and the star that he is. Yeah?
He's
Yeah.
dancing in our hearts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.